Hey everyone! Before we open today's file, please make sure to follow us on Instagram at d.s.radio, where you can find all the images that go along with today's case. You can drop us an email at contact.dsradio@gmail.com. You can find all of our socials in the Linktree bio on our Instagram profile, including links to merch. If you're feeling especially generous, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dystopian simulation radio, where you can get access to our exclusive Instagram page and make suggestions for upcoming episode topics that you would like us to cover. Speaking of Patreon, thanks to our Patreons, Riff Cult, Cropley Crab, Cash Broadus, Raspberry Jr., Jason R. Nelson, Creepy Paper, Jamie Sook, Michael Laughlin, Lindsay Keller, Mike Wright, Greer Weaver, Kelsey Carruthers, Linz Gibbon, Drake Holvig, Only Child, Michael M, Wesley Akers, Riaz K, Emily Medeiros, Pip, Heather Wynn, Graves, Devon Sweatshirt, The Ordained Sinister Minister, and Philip Hoffman.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Dystopian Simulation Radio. I'm your host, Chris.
And I'm Linz.
And how are you doing today, Linz?
Not bad, not bad. We did have a pre-podcast chat where you told me that you've been doing some Japanese karaoke. Very nice.
I have. Yes. Always a good night. Thank you, Red Diamond.
And you've also been to Spain.
I have been to Spain. Yes, it was a good little jaunt away with my family to get some nice weather, which we don't often get here in the UK. So
yeah,
yes,
I mean, it was quite weird to see you in a really nice hot environment. I was like, what is happening? But yeah, how does it feel to have how long was it? Like a week? A week of absolute summer and bliss. And then to come back to this.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The weather today, spring has sprung. It's quite nice today, actually, given on the scale of British weather.
Mm-hmm.
Other people in other countries might laugh at that, but it's all right today. But man, I need to live in a nice hot place sometime in the future.
Yes.
So if you've got a hot place going, let me know.
Oh, Chris, do not ask for that. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of DMs now. But
I've got a boiler room for you, boy.
But all the blossoms are blossoming as well. We have a lot of
they are
cherry blossom trees around
Sakura
here.
is out.
Yeah. So that's nice to see. Finally feeling that we're getting out of the dark winter. And
oh my
God,
it's been a long, hard, lonely
It
winter.
has, hasn't it? Like, I thought it was just me with like some depression issues, but everyone else that I know that is completely fine is just like, yes, it's been a long ass winter.
Yeah, it's I'm glad. It always makes me feel happier when the sun is shining.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we doing? Hold on, wait, no. What's all this positivity? We're supposed to be talking about alien abductions.
Are we? Oh yes.
Well, we're not, or are we? Maybe we are. Anyway, first, I've been very strapped for time over the last 2 weeks because it was WrestleMania weekend, baby.
Oh yes, I did see Wes posting WrestleMania content, I think.
Yes. And I'm sorry I haven't messaged you, Wes, but I haven't finished it yet. So that's how strapped for time you are. Working full-time, podcasting, having a child, and trying to fit 8 hours of WrestleMania in. Oh my God.
Trying to fit all those wrestlers in.
But anyway, I've been really enjoying what I've been watching so far. It's fantastic. WrestleMania, and I've got to go to WrestleMania one day, Linz. I've got to go.
I assumed you'd already been at some point in your
Not
in
to
your
WrestleMania.
life. Oh shit! Okay.
The Holy Grail.
Okay, if we get enough Patreons, maybe you can go one day, Chris.
Yeah, send me to WrestleMania, baby. But anyway, I think we do have to have a discussion about Wang.
We do?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I'm always down for talking about Wang.
Okay. Long Wang, short Wang, bite-sized Wang. What's your favorite?
Very inappropriate,
YouTube
Chris.
Shorts Wang, or
I do like long form Wang, actually.
long form Wang, unedited Wang, raw Wang.
Where are you going with this, Chris? Stop. Jeez.
Well, you managed to get us on Wang.
Yeah, I did. The YouTuber, by the way, if anyone's asking or wondering.
Oh yeah, calm down, everybody. So what you reached out to the famed YouTuber Wang to talk about Tom Cruise's fish fetish?
Fish banging fetish, supermarket fish specifically. Yeah, what happened, Chris? Do you have some follow-up questions?
Just update the people,
Oh yes, of course.
So maybe some people might be here as a result of Wang.
Oh yeah. If you did come here from, God, it's so weird. If you did come here from Wang, hello, thank you.
Via Wang.
Yeah, via Wang, which most of us did, unless we were those of us without belly buttons probably didn't. We might be abductees, the children of abductees, maybe. But yeah, if you came here from Wang, hello, welcome. We're not as cool as Wang, maybe. He says things that you know what? There's some episodes of like Tales from the Internet by Wang that sometimes I'm eating and they're like intrusive thoughts. I can't eat anymore. And I know Graves, for example, he knows what I'm talking about. One of our Patreons and listeners. He also had to tap out one specific video that I'm not going to mention, but honestly, like his video, like Wang's videos are amazing. It's like Tales from the Internet series is so fucking good, but it's not for the faint of heart. I will say that, like, it's like we are tame compared to that. So yeah, head over there if you want to. If you came from there, hello, welcome.
I am also a big fan of the Wang.
I've always known that.
Well, welcome Wangers. And also, we need to give a big shout out to all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you very much for all of your ongoing support. You keep the whole thing going.
You really do.
Shout out to all of you. If you're interested in joining, then you can go over to
patreon.com/dystopian simulation radio, where we have bonus episodes. We call them boner episodes because we're stupid. But yeah, we do post bonus episodes. And the most recent one, we actually kind of change our lives forever. Well, at least that's how I feel about it, Chris.
We do. I mean, we can let everyone know now we're fully card-carrying citizens of Uri Geller's Lamb Island micronation. Finally, the second passport I've been looking for.
Okay, so for anyone who's confused, we did an episode on Uri Geller's involvement in the Stargate project, which was like the US government looking into remote viewing to weaponize against the enemy for military application. And we found out that Uri Geller has an island of his own in Scotland, and you can become a citizen. So Chris and I became citizens of Lamb Island. It's a UFO hotspot, apparently. It's a safe place for witches. It's all kinds of things, and it has a national anthem, and Uri Geller has his own version where he sings it. So if you want to know all about like the stuff we do behind the scenes for the Patreon bonus episodes, you can join. How much is it, Chris? How much is each tier? And at what tier do you have to join to hear the bonus episodes?
So if you want to hear the bonus episodes, you join the Bob's Balls tier, which is priced at £5 English or the equivalent in your currency. And if you get full access to everything with that, including our exclusive Instagram account, which is at DSR Friend Club, where there's all kinds of shenanigans going over there. But you can also, if you just want to show a little bit of support, we appreciate anything. There is a £1 tier as well, which is about like $1.20, something like
Yeah, so if you just want to help us like keep going and support the upload costs, and we have like a chat in the Patreon where we just share like random daily kind of musings or like pictures of where we are, like whatever. We just share like random stuff there. But yeah, you can join and it's fun and it helps the podcast continue because we just do this by ourselves, to be honest. So yeah, all support helps.
Yes, so thank you very much. But do remember, if you're not a Patreon, that's absolutely fine. Thank you very much for listening to the show. That's supporting us as well. And you still have access to our regular old Instagram account, which is
d.s.radio. You can also DM us there. And yeah, if you could just share it, like word of mouth. If you like it, tell a friend. And we really appreciate it. So thanks.
2024 is the year that we will conquer the internet. We've already taken down Wang.
I don't think we've taken him down. He's kind of
next.
Gave us
it's
a nudge.
You, PewDiePie.
No,
you're still relevant, aren't you?
I don't think so, Chris. I think he did a soft retirement. He soft launched retirement, I think.
He stole my retirement.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
Chris's dream.
So, right. Linz.
Yes.
Before I reveal today's topic, a little field work for you, if you will. Yeah. So, let's get in our car and let's see if we can work out what type of creature we're dealing with.
Hold on. Let me put on my seatbelt, which was designed by Sweden, by the way, and not patented, so everyone could use it around the world. Click. Did you know that?
There you go. I did not know.
Now you know.
But, now I know. The more I know. Right. I'll explain on the way.
Okay.
We've been called today to San Joaquin Valley near Fresno, California. A local farmer by the name of Senor Rey Mysterio has called us.
Excuse me?
Due to Senor Rey Mysterio?
Rey Mysterio.
Okay. Yeah. It's called us due to strange occurrences on Rancho Mysterio.
Excuse me?
That's the name of the farm. Each morning,
okay, I'll go with it.
At least one animal has been found dead with pinprick marks in its neck, exsanguated, drained of blood. Linz, what do you suppose that we are dealing with here?
I feel like it's the goat sucker, Chris. El Chupacabra. Surely?
Yes!
Oh, thank God.
You are right. You have passed the test.
You know what?
So,
I know of the goat sucker. Don't know too much about it, but I did watch Chupa, which is probably way too old for your child to watch. But kids' movie about Chupacabra, really good.
Oh, well, I mean, I've got a soft spot for Chupacabra, but I learned a lot of things that I didn't know in researching today's episode. So let's get into uncovering the truth of El Chupacabra.
But Chris, before we uncover the truth, Rey Mysterio as in the wrestler?
I mean, I needed a Spanish name.
Ah, okay.
But you are right. This El Chupacabra does translate to goat sucker. And it's one of my favorite cryptids. But let's find out a little bit about its past. When was it first reported? Well, here's your first surprise of the episode. The first sighting dates all the way back to the prehistoric time of 1995.
You know what? I thought it would have been earlier, so I am kind of surprised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also some things that are latterly attributed to the Chupacabra from the 50s, and as we'll get into a little bit later on, it may even date back to Mayan times. But it depends on who we ask. We'll get onto that later.
Okay.
But it all really starts in 1995. So let's run with that as the date for the time being. And the creature is first reported in March in Puerto Rico. Oh, sorry. How am I supposed to say that?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. According to Donald Trump.
Oh, God.
We love the people of Puerto Rico.
I almost forgot about Donald Trump.
Oh, God, I wish I could. In March, 8 sheep were discovered completely drained of blood, and locals began to blame a mysterious creature for the killings. Some even claiming that this creature swooped down from the sky to attack the sheep, yet no eyewitnesses came forward. It was not until summer, early August, at around 4 p.m., when Madeline Tolentino would suddenly find herself face to face with El Chupacabra. And that is when we got our first description of the beast. Now, Madeline was at the time looking out of a glass window in her family home as a car pulled into the driveway. The driver, a chupacabra. No, sorry, no, they don't have licenses. The driver did look terrified though, and Madeline at first assumed that he was being mugged. But then she noticed the creature outside the car. Now, Linz, we have a rather lengthy interview with Madeline that we are going to discuss in full on our Patreon as a bonus episode. So make sure you tune into that,
right.
guys. But I've edited down Madeline's description for clarity, and this is from the UFO Digest of March 1996. So, Linz?
Yes, I know I always get my information from the UFO Digest.
Absolutely. Read this in your best Spanish accent.
I am not going to do that. You are the Spanish one, and you're going to do that. Up against the glass window, which you can see, is quite wide and faces the front of the house. I became aware of a creature walking on 2 legs, apparently having come quite a distance from the corner. It would seem that when the creature became aware of the car, it didn't want to get too close to it, and it stood in front of the window, through which I was looking outward. Later, I noticed it was looking back at me by its eye movements. It had no whites to its eyes. They were dark grey, damp, and protruding, running up to its temples, spread to the sides. The creature was some 4 feet, more or less. At the time, it was walking like a human on both legs. Its arms were drawn back into an attack position, as though it was a monster. It had 3 long, skinny fingers. The arms were also very long. They were drawn back, but I had the impression that they were very long. Its hair was rather short and close to its body, rather well combed, in fact. I noticed that it had apparently been burned by something. It had some round things on its body, and the region seemed ashen, as if something had burned it right there. The burn mark revealed pinkish purple skin, as if the top layer had fallen off. Its legs were really long and skinny, and I could see 3 separate toes, like a goose's foot that has a little thing between the toes. For a nose, it had 2 little holes, and its mouth was a slash. It was closed. At no moment did it open its mouth, so I never saw fangs nor teeth. I noticed something odd in its lower back. It looked like it had feathers, something that didn't match the rest of its bodily characteristics. That's when I told myself, what the heck is that? Because it didn't match the rest of the body. They were like feathers, but flat on its back. At no point did they rise. They joined by some sort of membrane, and it looked reddish, like a mixture of copper with brown and other colors. It was such a weird creature that I even got down on the floor to see if it had genitals. It had nothing at all. It was plain and sealed. I was laughing and saying to my mother, what the heck is this? Does it defecate through its mouth after it eats? It made some robot-like movements, as if it were being controlled by someone. Its movements were slow, as if guided by remote control, like a robot. When I noticed the look in its eyes, I shouted, my God, because it shocked me. To tell you the truth, had that thing appeared in front of me, I'd have broken into a run. But since I was behind the glass and there was a gate outside the glass, I said to myself, that thing can't harm me here. Meanwhile, when my mother heard me scream, she decided to go out and get the creature. The thing took off running. I'm not sure if it was because I screamed or not. I noticed that it was kind of hopping, like a kangaroo, but it wasn't a kangaroo. It plunged into the woods over there where you see that palm tree.
Okay, so that is quite a detailed description of this beast.
Yes, and are they up for adoption, Chris? Because I would definitely like one. They don't defecate. They have wings. They hop around. They're really cute. They sound
They're
like
the
Stitch.
perfect house animal. Yeah, I mean, this is described quite Stitch-like, actually, especially with the eyes that wrap around its head.
Yeah.
But there's some odd details here that don't come to my mind when I thought of the Chupacabra.
No.
Especially hopping like a kangaroo, that it had sort of spikes on its back,
It's Stitch.
joined together by a member. Yeah. It's just odd. What is this?
Well,
Like,
I think I don't know too much about Chupacabra, I will admit. Like, I know what he is. I know he's like one of the top 5 cryptids. But like, I didn't think of like feathers, hopping, like different like purple pinkish skin and all that until honestly, the movie Chupa, it's for kids on Netflix. You can watch it there. But actually Mikey from Septembrio turned me on to this, and then when I was babysitting a kid, I was like, okay, perfect opportunity to watch it. And they did like their depiction of it was pretty much like what we've just read. Like it had the feathers. It wasn't great at flying because it was young and it would like hop and try to fly. So they did a pretty good job at depicting Chupacabra. But yeah, that's not what I think of. Like pre-watching Chupa, this is not what I thought of when I thought of Chupacabra. I thought of like some mangy hyena-looking creature that sort of I don't even know. But this was not what I thought.
well, keep that thought in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But from this point on, after this report, there is, sorry, from this point on, after this sighting by Madeline, there is an epidemic of sightings across Puerto Rico. Madeline sees it several more times herself, and farmers and residents in the area awaken to all kinds of creatures dead over the coming months, with up to 150 incidents being reported of farm animals and pets being found completely exsanguated, which is my favourite word.
Yeah, I do remember you once telling me that you and your wife were watching The X-Files and she was writing down English words that she didn't know, and that was one of them.
That's exactly the origin story of why it's my favourite.
And that's one of my favourite stories of you guys as a couple.
Now, this is where we get into some interesting things. So, oddly, there was no signs of struggle apart from the pinprick marks, and not a single drop of blood spilled. Further sightings included details of chickens being killed inside previously locked cages. But in these cases, the markings appeared to have a distinctive triangular shape to the bites that were given. And perhaps this is the right time to mention that Puerto Rico is just within the Bermuda Triangle. Coincidence?
Ooh.
Or compelling evidence?
Illuminati confirmed.
Honestly, it could be either. But let's pop our story on hold here with the Chupacabra, and let's just return back to the site of the crime at Rancho Misterio for a second. Now, how is it that an animal can be completely drained of blood, yet the animal puts up next to no struggle whatsoever? And we know from our vampire episode, check it out in the archives, that actually, in the grand scheme of things, there's very few creatures that actually drink blood. And most of those mainly use a proboscis rather than fangs and are stealth and opportunity hunters. And I can attest to this because I am delicious, and I was bitten to buggery in a Spanish park last week.
I was about to say 1,000 mosquitoes.
Yeah. The only creature that we know of that uses fangs as hypodermic needles to drink blood is the vampire bat. This also typically preys on much larger creatures who will be slow to notice blood being drawn. They're not known to completely drain the blood of its victims, just taking as much as their bellies will carry. And there is no creature that we know of that officially will do this, that will just drain an animal of its blood. And to be fair, maybe the chupacabra doesn't either. You see, once the heart stops, blood pools at the lowest part of the body, thanks to good old gravity. And this could give the deceased animal the appearance of being drained of blood when actually it isn't.
Yeah.
So it may not really truly be draining them, exsanguating them of every drop of blood in their body, but it may well be a creature that feeds on the blood of its victims.
Mm-hmm.
But how could any creature the size of a toddler drink the blood of another animal without any fight being put up at all? Well, the answer is that the chupacabra reeks.
Sorry?
It reeks.
Like it stinks?
Yeah, it stinks.
How did... Elaborate.
Well, I think it's best to go back to the interview with Madeline. So let's have a look at this. And Linz, if you can read MT, I'll read anybody else.
Okay. I ran into it again on January 4th this year, 1996. I was returning from Kmart on Route 185. I began smelling a powerful odor, like battery acid, inside my van.
When you first saw the creature, did it give off that smell?
Yes, but not so strong. It's a really strong smell. Like malathion, poison. It suffocates you. I was trying to swallow and I couldn't even feel my throat. I was driving along with my 2-year-old and he started gagging in the van, wouldn't stop coughing.
Did you feel that your throat was burned, numb, or what?
It felt numb. It's like taking a chloroseptic tablet.
Did you feel any strange sensations in your eyes or skin?
No, just my throat.
Did you feel faint?
No, but I felt that if I stayed there smelling the reek, you couldn't tell what would happen. Then I told myself, that must be the creature still roaming around here.
I think the smell you're telling us about is what the creature uses to suffocate animals and have its way with them.
Yes, it's like when you suck one of those chloroseptic lozenges and you feel so numb that you can't even feel yourself breathing. That's similar to what I felt.
Aha, so, Linz.
No, Chris,
Perhaps
don't skip over that.
having its way with them.
Yes. What?
Well, I think it means drinking blood. I don't think it means anything else.
I think it's the smell you're telling. I think the smell you're telling us about is what the creature uses to suffocate animals and then have its way with them. What? We can't skip over that. What does that mean?
Well, perhaps the overwhelming stench of the chupacabra is used to stun its prey
Right.
into a hypnotic trance.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've put it in a way more rational way than Jose. I don't know what he's talking about.
I think he's thinking about how he could perhaps use this to his own ends.
To bang farm animals.
Yeah.
He's like,
No way,
the
Jose.
smell when you you emit the smell and then you bang the farm animals. She's like, yes, exactly like a lozenge.
Yeah. Jose only chips in like 3 times in the entire interview, and it's all about banging farm animals.
Nice.
Now, notice in that section that Madeline mentions only the throat was affected in regards to the numbing.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps the chupacabra numbs the neck of the animal so it has no chance of waking up from its hypnotic trance and just glides into the next world whilst being sucked off.
Chris! I mean, it could be like, poison, like a snake, a spider, I don't friggin' know. There's all sorts of animals out there, and I don't know what kind live over there that can paralyze, poison, and I wanted to say suck you dry, but
I'm not sure if do any animals use smell to paralyze?
No, but that was just someone's theory, wasn't it? Like maybe it's like a venom sort of thing, or maybe it's
Yeah.
like the creature is um smaller, so they don't really notice. You know, like if sometimes someone has a leech on them and they're like, "Oh God, I feel so exhausted," and there's just a giant leech collecting their blood on them somewhere.
No, I don't know that.
Oh, you've never lived in Thailand.
Just just you. So let's return back to our story, though. And the sightings continued in Puerto Rico, with authorities stumped. But then the sightings crossed the sea, and in 1996, the first incidents were reported in Mexico and the southern United States.
Ooh.
How did they cross the sea? Or did they? Was El Chupacabra always there? Who knows? But while reporting shared some similarities with what was happening in Puerto Rico, there was also some major differences to the Chupacabra over on the Americas. But we'll come back to that in a minute. That the sightings in the Americas began in Florida, which is not really where I think of when El Chupacabra comes to
Well,
mind.
I can
But
see Florida men claiming chupacabras
yeah,
are roaming around.
just Florida things.
Just Florida things.
So 40 animals were slain in the rural areas of northwest Miami. Just 2 months later, on May 2nd of 1996, the Chupacabra attacked and killed a pet goat
No.
in southern Texas. And on the very same day was spotted attacking dogs in Juarez, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
This opened the floodgates for what us in the field call the Great Chupacabran Invasion of 96.
Okay.
All over Mexico and the southern United States, there were spottings and attacks being recorded. Animals were turning up with vampire like marks on their bodies and ending up dead when previously they'd been alive.
Well, I know Texas has a lot of bats.
Ah, yes.
Great response.
Mm.
Ah, silence.
You might be onto something there as well. You're clearly my best student in the field of chupacabra studies,
Yes.
but let's return to that later. Now, the village of Calderon, which I'm not sure if that's how that's pronounced, but in Mexico, Calderon,
Never heard of it.
Calderon. It must be Calderon.
As the Spanish in the conversation, you can choose.
Yeah. The village of Calderon, Mexico, reported being plagued by a bat-like creature that was terrorizing the local goat population. But wait, a bat?
Hmm.
Y- yes, in several sightings, the chupacabra has been described as being bat-like and even flying down. Remember the very first attacks in 95 reported that the chupacabra was swooping down and preying on sheep. But what's more interesting is that the chupacabra of the Americas seems to be very different from that of Puerto Rico.
Right.
So let's take a picture of the original chupacabra.
Take a
or rather,
picture.
no,
Hold on. Let me get my Kodak camera.
let's take a look at a picture of the original chupacabra as drawn by an artist here. And this, please describe this friendly boy.
Ooh. Oh God. Okay, like right. So is this the first?
This is the Puerto Rican
Right.
chupacabra.
Yes. Okay. So where to start? We have sort of he has kind of a, I would describe it as the cranium I'm talking about here, the head. It's kind of like a grey alien with a reptilian mohawk and sort of vampire fangs and a long spiky tongue. Not what I expected. He's got this sort of mohawk going down his back, kind of like it's like a lizard crossed with a like a hairy lizard. I don't know. He's
It is a bit.
like a hairy lizard with a vampire fangs, a pointy tongue, some pecs, weirdly. Isn't there always pecs and muscles? He's crouching down. He's got one hand on the neck of a ram, one around the neck of, he's choking his chicken on the right there. Um, 3 toes, claws. He looks a bit scaly, but his arms look a bit hairy. I'm not sure if that's meant to be feathery. But yeah, they've caught him in the act. He's crouched down. He's killing multiple farm animals. No emotion on his face. Looks a bit mean. Yeah, sort of a humanoidy body with hmm, griffiny feet.
Griffiny feet.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't you think so? Like,
Yeah, I'd agree.
yeah,
The most griffiny feet I've seen all day.
exactly. A reptilian grey head with vampire teeth. Yeah, and he's in a field somewhere out in the sticks. Looking, yeah, he's a agent of chaos. Very, very, not
And
what you think when you think of the Chupacabra.
no. But now let's compare this
Mm-hmm.
to the reports of the American Chupacabra.
Now, this is what I think when I think Chupacabra. It's kind of like a larger virgin, a larger version. It looks like a Chinese crested dog or a Thai dog has lost all of its fur and it's got kind of like roast pork skin and it's kind of just like a dog with a spiky mohawk on its back, just spikes along
Yeah.
its neck, shoulders, and lower back and upper back, and he's just got like really long claws, orange eyes, more hyena, kind of like a dog with no fur, like a kind of like when you see those sort of you see videos of people doing like dog rescues on YouTube, like shorts and stuff, and it's like they'll find dogs in really poor conditions, like Maine just taking like all their coat from them and stuff, and they sort of end up looking like this. It's like that, but with these like spiked porcupine mohawk needles going down the neck and back with orange eyes. It's what I think of when I think of chupacabra.
Oh, Linz, you're knocking it out of the park today.
Yes, finally my brain
Yes,
works.
absolutely. You're firing on all cylinders, and I'm. Well, I'll come back to that in a second. But one of these is very alien-like, and the other one is far more doggo.
Yeah,
So, what's going on? Well,
no
we need to
clue.
investigate some of the possible explanation to these chupacabra sightings before we get into some wild ones. Now, to give a skeptic's explanation of the doggy version, they are dogs
Yeah.
or coyotes or sometimes actually maybe even a hybrid, which have been affected by mange.
Yeah, it does look like that from the picture.
Yeah, you quite rightly point out that can quite dramatically alter the appearance of an animal. So mange is a skin condition which is caused by parasitic mites. And these mites burrow into an animal's skin or hair follicles. Mange can seriously alter the appearance of an animal, and from a distance, as one is running away from or from behind, it could easily be mistaken for an unknown creature, especially during the chupacabra fever of the late 90s. Mange often results in hair loss, and if gone untreated, it can turn animals into, well, take a look at this coyote.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're not used to seeing like, street dogs at this level of sort of like decline, I can see why you would be like really scared seeing this because like you said, they become like unrecognizable. This coyote here, which we'll post on the Instagram d.s.radio, he looks like a little werewolf, bless him. But yeah, I can totally see somebody seeing this. I mean, this is the American kind of comparison,
Yeah.
which is totally like I can understand how people mistook it. And like this coyote here still has a little bit of a mohawk on the back that he's like the fur that hasn't fallen out yet, and on his ears. Oh, poor thing. But yeah, the skin underneath is like wrinkly and grey, purplish actually. To
Hmm.
be fair, and he's obviously wild. He's a wild animal, so he's very scared and growling. He's in a defense position, like backed up in a corner. So I can totally see someone who wasn't used to seeing dogs or like canines look like that would kind of be freaked out. But that does not resemble the Puerto Rican one at all. So it could explain the American one, maybe.
It's good to explain the American
Yeah.
ones. So you are right in this picture. There's barely any fur, which accentuates its facial features. As I said, hair remains on the ears, which could give it a somewhat bat-like
Yeah,
appearance as
actually.
well.
Yeah, you're right.
So somebody, take a quick glance, you could notice that. And the hair on the back of the neck also remains, which could be an explanation for the quills that were reported running down the spine of our beloved cryptid.
Mm-hmm. Quills, that's the word I was searching for the whole time I was trying to describe it.
But let's compare this to a reported photograph of the American Chupacabra.
Oh, wow. Never seen this before. You know, I don't think it's okay, so this is just to me it's adorable. It's just
Yeah,
a canine standing out in a field looking over its shoulder, like looking over towards the camera.
from a distance.
Yeah, from a distance. And he does look purplish, bluish, but like it could be his skin, like mange, like you said. But yeah, it's kind of like a hybrid coyote street dog. Like it's very cute. Like I didn't think this would be an example of a chupacabra picture. It's just really adorable. Like obviously I
Yeah.
would die if I lived out here because I'd probably try and pet that. But
I mean, it just looks like a doggy boy from a distance,
yeah,
really, doesn't it?
it's like a
It's
good
not.
boy.
It could it be Chupacabra? Yes. Could it be just a wild animal, a wild dog? Yeah.
Oh
It's not necessarily what you call proof, but there
no.
is one action shot that we have of a reported American Chupacabra attacking chickens, which was um, captured via CCTV footage.
Yes.
So let's take a look at the Chupacabra attacking here.
Oh, that poor chicken. Oh my god, he's gone ham on those chickens. He
Yeah.
wasn't just trying to eat, he went there. He went there to devastate the chicken population in that coop. Oh god.
Mm,
Right, so this is definitely a dog with mange.
yeah.
And it looks like a mother dog by the teats there. So
Observe the teats.
observe the teats. That's a female dog has probably recently given birth and has mange and like God knows what. But yeah, that's a dog. Like, was this actual chupacabra evidence? Where
This is put out as evidence of a chupacabra. Now
right?
I want to believe. I want to believe, but this picture doesn't do it for me
Yeah.
because it just appears to be a dog.
If you've ever been to Thailand, you've seen this kind of dog with this condition so many times. Unfortunately, street
Yeah.
dogs. Yeah, that's a street dog, straight up. Not convinced by the chupacabra evidence so far, Chris.
No. Well, mm, the well, I'll tell you someone else who isn't convinced, and that's Barry O'Connor of the University of Michigan.
Ooh.
And he concluded that these chupacabras were simply animals infected with mange.
Yeah.
They had been weakened as a result and had decided to prey on farm animals for an easy kill. It's not uncommon for creatures to be injured in an attack, escape, and die later as a result of the wounds, and the two holes that have supposedly been the site of exsanguination line up exactly with that of a canine's attack pattern. This is how the canine family catches its prey, after all. But that does not mean that they're vampiric. It just means that they bite into an animal and then don't let go. And if we take a look at that picture that we looked at a moment ago, that doesn't seem to be using any kind of stench power to hypnotize the creature. He's just.
I'm sure he
he's
has a
just-
stench power, but you can't see the green vapor on the picture.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
The word for what this animal is doing is just hoying it repeatedly
Yeah.
into the air. It's not for the faint-hearted. What it's doing here.
No.
In 2010, animal control in Hood Valley, Texas, shot and killed a chupacabra.
No.
They brought it to Texas A&M University, where it was revealed following tests that this was a dog-coyote hybrid severely affected by mange.
Oh, I feel bad. I feel bad for
But
all the street doggos and the hybrids and whatever's going on out in the desert with these poor things that everyone's like, it's a
What's going on in the desert with the dog hybrids? That's what I want to know.
Okay, you cheered me up now.
But hang on a 2nd.
Mhm.
Hold the phone. We can explain away the American version of the chupacabra as wild dogs with mange, maybe even a bit of rabies thrown in there.
Mhm.
But what about the alien-like creature from Puerto Rico?
Exactly. Like, what is that? That's what I'm interested in.
Well, something I neglected to mention before, Linz. But prior to the initial sightings, there was reportedly increased incidents of UFOs being reported.
Yes.
Sorry, Tom DeLonge. UAPs. He's listening, you know. Now, some speculate that chupacabras are actually grey aliens. And indeed, their appearance does not differ too much from the standard grey description, just a little bit more flamboyant.
Chris, do you know what I have
Yes.
also just noticed? It's
What's that?
kind of. We could also include the Dover demon in this.
Yes.
He's kind of a midpoint between the grey and the Puerto Rican chupacabra.
Yes, the Dover demon actually could be some sort of member of the same family. Perhaps the chupacabras are, I don't know, maybe they're some kind of pets that the greys keep. Or maybe they're just like their weird uncles.
Just the strange cousins they cast out. They go,
Right,
go
right.
abduct that person or do some field work, and then they just shoot the UFO back into space and leave them there.
Right, Stephen, you and we are going to probe this cow mercilessly as part of our research. Jeff, just go over there and do that thing that you do to goats.
Leave them behind on the trash planet.
But again, putting our skeptic's hat on, maybe the origin of the alien version of the chupacabra is much closer to home. Now, Linz, just over 1 month prior to the detailed description that Madeline gave when she saw the creature, a movie was released with an oddly similar alien main character in July of 1995.
Okay.
Linz, pop quiz. Any ideas?
Like a live action movie.
A live action movie.
1995.
I can give you some hints.
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay. The first hint is that the alien was designed by H.R. Geiger and the movie was not in the Alien franchise.
It was not.
No. I can give you another clue.
Okay, I think I need one.
The movie is both a high-concept extraterrestrial alien movie and also softcore porn. But it was released in mainstream cinemas.
Wait. H.R. Geiger. And it's not Alien. And it came out in 1995.
Critically, it flopped, but due to the fact that it featured boobs, it was successful enough to warrant a sequel movie in theaters. And 2 more direct-to-TV.
What? Oh, God. Am I going to kick myself when you tell me?
Well, I think you're running out of time.
All right.
3,
Go for it.
2, 1. The movie in question is Species.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
Yeah. Species, starring Natasha Henstridge as Sylvie, alien-human hybrid, who simply
Mhm.
must mate with a human male immediately. Surprisingly, the film also features a cast that includes Ben Kingsley, Michael Madsen, Dr. Octopus himself, Alfred Molina, and Forrest Whitaker.
I need a refresher on what this creature looked like.
Well, here you go. Here
Right.
is Syl.
Oh. Yeah, I bet like this is very Geiger, but I do not remember. I do not remember this character at all. Um,
Yeah, well, she also had a human form in the movie. She could switch between them.
yeah, she was like a hot woman. Right.
Yeah,
So, should I describe it? And we'll also post it
go
on the
for it.
Instagram because I did not remember this at all. So
I'll have to put some black bars over
you
a rowboat bridge.
definitely will. So we got like a cone head, feminine looking alien. Like the face is quite human. Um, open mouth, kind of almond eyes slanted upwards. It's kind of like serving, to be honest. It's brown, it's got this cone head. It's kind of bronzy actually, right? It's I don't know what, like it's a bronzy, scaly looking thing. It's got like a humanoid body. Its boobs are out, right out there. It's got the quills on the back. It's got the spiky hands with the webs between the fingers. Um, and it looks like it's got thigh high stockings on that I think's kind of like armor. It's kind of amazing. But I don't know why
It
you would.
is the male gaze in one photograph.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I'm gonna admit that I like this, but
Well, it's H.R. Geiger. It's always going to be
yeah,
interesting.
exactly. But I don't know where where people have connected this to a mangy dog that sucks the blood of farm
Yeah.
animals. So it
Well,
does look
it's
very
not
similar. I will say that.
it's not the American one, but it's definitely connected to the Puerto Rican.
Yeah, but the Puerto Rican one
version.
was just like kind of a goofy little grey guy with like reptilian features,
Well,
and this is like a hot lady, but an alien at the same time.
well, that's it. Could it be a coincidence? Quite possibly. However, we know that Madeline had seen Species.
Ooh, right. She rented it at
Yes.
Blockbuster.
Well, it was only in theaters, but she'd seen it earlier in the month because she confirmed it herself, making reference to the movie in the interview that we referenced earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and noting that she couldn't believe the resemblance between the real Chupacabra and the one in the movie.
So are you insinuating that she's just a little bit like crackers?
I wouldn't say crackers, but I mean,
Influenced.
I think that potentially, if you take the skeptic's point of view, that she saw this movie, there was something out there, and she conflated, the two things and saw what she wanted to out there.
Do you
Potentially.
think that she tried to describe this character from Species, but then the person who drew like the composite sketch, for lack of a better term, wasn't as good as drawing as Geiger? And then we got delivered this sort of Dover demon in a Halloween costume kind of situation.
Quite possibly.
I like that idea and I'm going to stay with it.
But I mean, we can't base this solely off one woman having seen a naff big budget blue movie and therefore explain away that's what the Chupacabra is, can we? It can't be that simple.
I mean, that's usually like what we have to go on per episode. I don't see why not.
Well, perhaps there's a more ancient origin to the legend
I'm listening.
of El Chupacabra. One going all the way back to the Mayans.
Ooh, the Mayans.
Yes, the Mayans, tomato. Well, the Maya, were a Mesoamerican civilization that lasted from at least 250 AD all the way through to, coincidentally, not that long after the Spanish rocked up and their civilization fell around 1697. The Maya covered what we now know as southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. And as a civilization, they're famed for both their achievements in astrology, calendar creation, pyramids, which, as we all know, of course, came from our friend the Greys, but that's another episode, rubber production, and human sacrifice. The Maya had many gods and many legends, but one which is of interest to us and our quest for our little sucky boy is
Don't
a
say it like
creature-
that, Chris.
Well, it's a creature commonly known as kamatozes. I do not know how to pronounce that.
But you did it in a very nice Japanese accent.
Kamazads. That's my best pronunciation of that, but it translates to either death bat or snatch bat, which makes it sound either very threatening or like the latest winner of RuPaul's Drag Race.
I can imagine the costume now.
You slay, snatch bat. Don't fuck it up. The creature dwelled in the caves of many sacred sites of the Maya. Indeed, in modern day, we can say that both vampire bats and leaf-nosed bats do inhabit these same sites that the Maya worshipped. Perhaps the Mayan people observed these bats flowing out of the caves at dusk in their thousands and believed these passages to the underworld were unleashing the Kamazads onto the world. Now, Kamazads is believed to be one of the 4 creatures responsible for wiping out mankind during the first age of the sun. But then, obviously, we must have come back for round 2.
Yeah, I was going to say there were survivors.
Now, but legend tells the time where 2 young heroic boys ventured into the underworld of caves after being forced by some dickweed lords, whose names that I can't pronounce. The boys took refuge inside their blowguns, which I guess means
what?
either they were massive blowguns or very, very small boys. They hid there until dusk, when they presumed it was safe to come out. One boy poked his head out, but alas, it was not quite dusk, and a Kamazad swooped down and took the boy's head. The bat then took the boy's head to the other gods to be used as a ball. And this is why in Mexican football and soccer broadcasts they never say goal, but goal, to represent the screams of that young boy decapitated by a bat.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Okay, that last bit was a lie.
Thank God. I was just like, I don't want to laugh because I don't want to get cancelled.
But you know, if the glove fits, you must acquit. That's right. We are the only podcast to connect Mesoamerican civilization to the death of O.J. Simpson, the creator of orange juice. So, Linz, let's take a look at our Mayan. I'm really thirsty now.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at our Mayan bat god. Please
Please.
describe.
Oh, yes. What was that elephant called?
Nelly?
No, Baba?
Baba, yeah.
It's like a Baba if he was like bitten by a vampire. Yeah.
Well, the key question I have here is, does he have a massive boner in this picture?
No, he's wearing a little, what do you call it?
A little loincloth.
Loincloth. He's got a loincloth covering his bits. He has a cape. He's got the head of a, like you said, a leaf-nosed bat. But he looks kind of human. I think it's the eyes. He's got like sort of a human face, and it's very creepy. He's almost like a vampire koala who's like flashing, but instead of a wang, it's a loincloth. Love it.
Let's have a look at a more terrifying representation of of the creature.
Okay, is this an artist's interpretation, maybe?
No, this is this is an ancient representation.
Oh. So yes, but old.
So yes. So again, a bit more terrifying here. It's in one hand holding a heart, and in the other is holding a knife used for sacrifice.
He's very Hanuman-esque in this. Yeah, like you said, dagger dripping blood, heart in one hand, his tongue's out. He looks very pleased with himself. Yeah. I mean, it's like Chupacabra if he had like fancy clothes. This is like a rich Chupacabra who can afford to
Yeah.
get all the designer goods back in the days.
Well, this is, one potential explanation. Linz, could this be our Chupacabra?
It could definitely be the sleigh bat.
Well, could it be still alive today? Only hunting at night? Well, possibly. Even if we drop the supernatural elements for a moment, it has been discovered that there was a now extinct species of bat, which scientists cunningly have named the giant vampire bat.
Ooh, are they extinct now?
They are the giant vampire bat is. Vampire bats are very much still out there. So could the giant version be alive and preying on larger animals?
God, I hope so.
Or could this be what the explanation for the ancient Mayan creature was? Because it would have been around during their time. It wouldn't have been extinct.
Do we have an
at the
image
time.
of him or like a drawing of him?
Well, modern day vampire bats are cutesy little guys.
Mm-hmm.
Not very big at all, but giant vampire bats. Any guess how large they would get?
God, well, I think there is a species of bat that's like 3 feet tall already. J- Maybe. Am I making that up? I know there's a really massive bat out there, but
Flying foxes, I believe, are the biggest, but they are technically not bats.
right,
But they are
maybe that's what I'm
terrifyingly
thinking of.
huge.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. We have the giant. So the common vampire bat is 8 inches. The giant vampire bat is 20 inches.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So not really giant, but still pretty big in comparison to your average man wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah. This picture will also go on d.s.radio Instagram. There's a man he's wearing jeans and boots, and they've estimated that he's 5'7". But yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, the bat, not the man, the bat, the bat.
No,
Especially not compared to you.
Incoming Bigfoot joke in 3.
No, I'm going to spare you today. I'm feeling
Mm.
kind. But yeah, the 20 inches. So there's 20 inches. That's not the wings. Is that the wingspan of the bat, or is that
That's
the
the
body?
wingspan.
Right,
Yeah,
the wingspan.
that's a wingspan.
Actually, it's not that big.
No, it's not. But I
One
mean,
episode.
if you think that, let's just presume for a second that conceivably, if one did see a giant vampire bat on the ground, hopping around, much as bats do, it might resemble a bizarre, hopping, alien-like creature. Especially if
Yeah.
its wings were not extended, it could look quite otherworldly as it approached a unsuspecting home dwelling of a Puerto Rican lady who had just watched Species in their local movie theatre.
But Chris, the Puerto Rican lady who sighted the Chupacabra didn't see the Chupacabra drink blood.
No,
She just
she did
saw
not.
it hopping weirdly around.
She also didn't even see it with its mouth open. So she's connecting other incidents that have happened around the area of animals being killed with what she saw.
Right. So so as sightings of Chupacabra go, is it generally just like a bunch of these, like dog with mange, sin, running and looking weird and eating chickens? Is that like the extent of the Chupacabra sightings?
In North America.
Right.
Also, well, in Central America, yes, but on Puerto Rico, it's a bit more alien-like or
Mm-hmm.
bat-like, things swooping down from the sky, or these creatures that we are being told about. I mean, there's
Right.
sporadic sightings of the chupacabra, but they've never been in such high concentration as between 95 to about 97.
So the X-Files era, as we like to call it.
They did. Although it must be noted that the X Files episode on the chupacabra, pretty much, well, the X Files episode on the chupacabra didn't air prior to these sightings.
Right. So it was like, so if we're going like pop culture reference, we've got to go with the species link.
Yes.
Right. And it does look a bit like that character. And she had seen it, the Puerto Rican lady.
Mm.
So,
To be fair, the X Files were all over it. It was the season 4 episode 11, El Mundo Gira, which uh, aired on the 12th of January 1997. So just after, really, all of these things.
right. Okay. Food for thought. Yeah, I didn't really know the history of the chupacabra, so I'm glad you've covered this. Like I knew
Mm.
of it, I didn't realize it looked different in different places. Right, interesting. Okay, we might need some listener input on this one, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, are you a chupacabra?
What is your
If you are,
wingspan?
write in. What is your wingspan? I mean, these ideas, though. I mean, we have to look at these as two separate creatures. I think they're just, let's just assume for a second that yes, they both exist, just for argument's sake. One is a dog, and one is a lizard abducto boy. Two very distinct brands of things labeled the same. We've got Coke and Pepsi, but they're not the same thing. But we can look at several theories, but let's deal with the dog version first. Firstly, it really is a cryptid, perhaps a unknown species of a familiar animal, a canine that has fangs designed to drink the blood of goats and other victims. Next, we could say that this is just a simple canine affected by mange, attacking farms, and people were just jumping on the hysteria in the mid-90s. You've seen the evidence today, Linz, but what do you think about the doggo version?
I think the American one, the doggo version, is just a dog with mange that people got freaked out by because they weren't used to seeing it. And yeah, I think that we can kind of write off. The Puerto Rican one, on the other hand, I have no clue, and that is a lot more intriguing to me. The American one can write it off as dog with
Yeah.
mange. Puerto Rican one,
Well,
no clue. No clue.
is our Puerto Rican alien, Chupacabra, is it an ancient Mayan god who's come out of the wrong cave exit and ended up in Puerto Rico?
Or like one of those the trees that like teleport you to different timelines.
That as well. Could it perhaps be a giant vampire bat that has become isolated on the island of Puerto Rico and for environmental reasons wandered closer to human civilization than it normally would? Or is this the case of somebody watching a movie and having their head filled with ideas when peering out of the window at something they can't get quite a good look at?
I think it's
What do
a
you think?
combination. I think that is some kind of a lesser known mutant creature who may also be affected by some kind of disease that just wandered too close to humans in a moment of madness and freaked out some lady who just in species. Then again, I want to believe that, what did you say? An alien grey pet. I like that theory, but I do
Yeah.
think it's probably just a creature that someone didn't recognize, and then kind of added some features and like let their imagination run away with it a bit. I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting that you connected to the Dover demon, because if you remember
Yes.
on that episode, I stuck my neck out, put it out on a limb that, yeah, I said I think that's real, the Dover demon,
Yeah. Do you still
based
stand
on
by
the
that,
evidence you
Chris?
presented. I don't know, but I'm like, let's go with yes because it's fun. But I wonder if there's something else at play here. Could there be a more human explanation for both the alien boy and the doggo boy? Remember, in some cases, caged animals and doors have been opened when they were previously locked. Not many dogs can do that. So, could there be hoaxes out there trying to replicate the Chupacabra's legend in much the same way that some people fake UFO landing burn patterns and make crop circles? Could
Mm.
this be people simply trying to spread a legend? Perhaps there was an initial spate of attacks by some wild animals, which maybe have been driven closer to human civilization, but now somebody is trying to write their own legend of El Chupacabra.
I mean, if you live out in the sticks and you don't have much to do, you could glue some quills onto a mangy coyote, I suppose. Send it off to your neighbor. Just for entertainment's
Oh,
sake.
I mean, you could do that, but you might not. What I mean is, people sneaking into farms in the night and killing chickens,
Oh.
opening
Oh, I didn't think you were
cages,
going that dark.
draining them of their blood with hypodermic needles, and
No, I
then
definitely think
running away.
it's just some animal that hunts in a way that we're probably not too used to seeing, but is probably quite common in the wild.
But
Um,
how do you explain the opening locked cages?
well, how are they locked? A padlock, a bolt, a stick, you know. And
They're
things like
locked with.
snakes can kind of like slither their way into anything, really. Rats can do
Mm,
the same. They can sort of collapse their ribs and bend around sewer pipe. Like there's a lot of animals that can do some weird shit with their bodies, and obviously digging under is another thing. Like there's many ways. Like if you put an animal in a cage, there's like so many ways they'll try to get out. And I assume if they're that hungry, there's so many ways they'll try and get in. Um, you know, cattle as well. Like cages are open sometimes in the day, and things can sneak in and just lay in wait. You never really know. Animals are really crafty.
okay, interesting, interesting. So you think that there's a rational explanation for these locked cages having dead animals within inside? That
Yeah,
they're
definitely. I mean, especially when it comes to wild animals, like when like a desperate wild animal will like chew up its own leg, so it can definitely come up with a way to get into a place that is filled with food. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you don't live somewhere where it's kind of like rural and they have farming and stuff, you might just be like, "Oh my god, how did that happen?" But if you kind of do, or you've lived somewhere where there is a lot of wildlife, you kind of know what they're capable of, and it's quite alarming sometimes what they can do. Well, like they can open things, maybe not a padlock, but like, you know, I don't know. They have their ways if they're desperate enough.
interesting.
Mm.
Well, we want to hear your thoughts. Have you had any experiences with El Chupacabra? Have you run your own farm? Have you have you faked a Chupacabra attack on your neighbors just for shits and giggles? Let us know. You can get in touch by any of the methods that we detailed at the beginning of today's show. But we want to hear what you think. The Chupacabra, real, fake, or just a dog?
We want to know. Thank you so much for presenting this episode, Chris. It's been really fun, actually. It's been a while since we had a classic.
Yes, this is one that I've wanted to do for quite a while. Actually, it's been on my list for a while, but I wanted to. It's been a while since we've had a cryptid. And I
Yes,
thought, right,
I have missed
let's
them.
bring that out. But we are going to have a little bit more to talk about El Chupacabra, because we are going to read through the whole interview between what was her name?
Madeline.
Madeline. We're going to read through the whole interview with Madeline and her interviewers, including Jose, who wants to use stench to have his way with farm animals. And you can read that, or rather you can listen to it in a Brucey bonus episode that will be going out on our Patreon. So we hope to see you there. And until next time, lock your chicken cages.
And make sure you keep your fur on your dogs. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Linz. Bye.
Bye.
In this picture, you know, as you said, there's barely any fur, and that does very much extenuate.
Exsanguate. Exsanguate the world.